In this video, we will be looking at our Monday and Tuesday math review for week 13. Number 1 asks about how many 12-ounce cans of soda is this. We're dealing with gallons and we're looking to convert to ounces. You'll need to look up the conversion factor for gallons to ounces. Quick Google should be able to help you out with that. Number 2 says evaluate -4 times quantity -2 squared. You can type this in your calculator exactly like you see it. Doing it by hand, we should first do our squaring of -2. The exponent precedes the multiplication of order operations. -2 quantity squared will be a +4. +4 times -4 will be a -16. Put this in your calculator and see if you get the same situation, the same value when you evaluate. Number 3, circle examples that are not equations. Remember, we had two terms that we dealt with when we talked about our statements: equations and expressions. An expression had numbers and variables, so did an equation, but the difference was that an equation had an equals sign in it. So in this case, the ones that are not equations are f is an expression, we see that A has an equal sign, D has an equal sign, and B has an equal sign. But also E and C do not have equal signs. These have a greater than and a less than. We call those inequalities. So these two statements are also called inequalities. Therefore, E, C, and F are not equations. F is an expression, E and C inequalities. All right, number 4 says solve. Well, we have variables on both sides. When we have that, we simply need to eliminate one of our variables. In this case, we could subtract 2x on both sides to begin with. Use your calculator to do this subtraction, and then you should be okay from here. I'll leave the rest of number 4 to you. Number 5 is pretty straightforward. I'll leave that for you as well. Skipping down to Tuesday. All right, another rate problem. 3 minutes, 133 grapes. At that rate, could he eat 1,000 grapes in 20 minutes? Well, it's a proportion. I'll leave that one up to you as well. Which expression has greater value, the cube root of 1756 or the fifth root of 59049? This is asking to what number times itself 3 times yields this, what number times itself 5 times yields this. I will show how we can evaluate both of these expressions using our calculator. Hitting A for calculate. I'm going to strike the root button, which is, if you look underneath the equal sign, we see we have our power button. Well, right above that, control and that key is the root button. So I hit control and then that key. Now I will indicate the index, that is what root I'm taking. For the first one, I'm taking the third root. And then I will come underneath, and then I will enter this number. The number underneath the expression is called the radicand. The whole thing is called a radical. 17576. The third root of 17,576 is 26. What that means is 26 to the power of 3 is 17,576. So this is 26. Is the fifth root of 59,049? More or less than that. So again, I will hit control and then the exponent key. I will indicate the root is 5. And the number we're taking the fifth root of is 59,049. It's 9. Once again, 9 to the 5th power will be 59,049. So this is 9. Thus, this has a greater value. All right. Number 4, you can give it a try, but we have not reached this yet. I'm going to say we omit this one. Number 3, write this in numbers and symbols. The cube root of 216. So much like we saw with these two expressions, this is the cube root of 216. Is greater than or equal to, this value is greater than or equal to the sum of a number x, x plus the square root of 9, When I put the square root, I don't have to put the index 2, but it doesn't make it wrong if you do. When we show this symbol, it implies that we're taking the square root. The cube root of 216, is greater than, or equal to the sum of x and the square root of 9. All right. Lastly, number 5. Did he drink more or less than the amount that could fit in the glass? The world's fastest milkshake drinker consumed 500 milliliters of shake in 10 seconds. So we're interested in finding the volume here. We're going to have to do a couple things. First, this is in milliliters, and here we're dealing with inches. It says assume that the glass holds 34 milliliters per 10 cubic inches. Well, they give us a conversion here. So we need to find the number of cubic inches that this cylinder holds. The volume of a cylinder is equal to pi r squared. You may not recognize this as the volume of a circle times the height. So what we're taking is finding the area, this is the area of a circle, pi r squared. We're finding the area of the circle and then multiplying it by the height. And that sort of makes sense that creates the volume. So using this formula, you'll be able to find the cubic inches, and then this conversion will be able to help you answer that question. There will be a separate video for Wednesday and Thursday.